Hi guys, Sarah here from Highland Haven Australian Shepherds and Highland Haven Dog Training, and welcome to episode 12.
We literally just went over this.
Season 3, episode 12 of Dog for Thought. Joining me is my co-host, daughter, and dingbat, Sophie. How are you?
I'm good.
So we took a little break there, a forced break. So we should probably apologize to everybody. We sort of just went MIA after episode 11. Our goal was to do 12 episodes, make episode 12 our season finale, but just things sort of came together at once. We got super busy, and Jacob got really busy with school, got a new job, and just it was mostly Jacob in that I didn't want to put any more pressure on him because he had already had a lot of pressure on him at the moment.
And we had like 1,000 puppies, so we were literally working 24/7. And then you went on vacation.
I went on vacation, yeah.
Yeah, and then the spring weekend happened, and I was super busy. So yeah, we've been crazy.
Yeah. So the puppies, the litter went home, and then we kept Turtle and Marley for some training. Turtle stayed for 10 days, and Marley stayed for 5 weeks. So Marley literally just went home yesterday, the day before we're recording this. In the middle of that, after Turtle went home, then we just had Marley, and then Arthur came for some training, a little Lagoto who came from 1 week of crate training. And then Chico came right after that.
Yes, for like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, something like that.
Yeah, but days in puppy, when you're talking about puppies, days are really...
Lifetimes?
Yeah, it's like Mars days and years are different than Earth's. It's the same when you're dealing with puppies, the day is way longer than a normal day. So yeah, we've done, mostly me, a very, very intensive 5 weeks of puppies.
Yeah. None
of which I was keeping. So although I don't mind raising puppies, I'm good at it. I love puppies. It's harder to do. You have to keep reminding yourself you're getting paid, because it's no fun when you're not, if you think about not keeping them, right?
Well, yeah, because essentially it's an investment, right? So like you're doing all this work because it's an investment.
Right. And you were excited to get this new puppy and it's yours. And when you're doing it for somebody else, you're missing that piece, of course.
Yeah.
So I had to keep reminding myself, hey, I'm getting paid for this. You got to do a good job, not just be tired and annoyed at the end of the day. The key for these puppies was that at 7 p.m., they were all crated for the night. They went out again at 10 o'clock for our last pee and poop. But at 7 o'clock, I was finally off duty because puppies are like babies. Like we've talked about this a million times. They need to have a early bedtime like you would with a toddler.
Yep.
So that kept me somewhat sane. But it was 5 straight weeks of getting up,
at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, crack of dawn.
And then having to like wait to let them out at like 10 or whatever.
Yeah. So I was really getting up earlier than 6 most days, and at least doing a quick pee poop, and then come back, bring them back in and put them back to bed, and maybe getting another hour of sleep. So yeah, it was a lot.
And then on top of that, we had like so many dogs for spring.
Easter week.
Yeah. We had a lot of dogs. But at least you got a vacation in the middle of that, which was...
Yeah, so my sister Jen invited me to meet her in Nolans, NOLA, whatever you want to call it. She invited me last fall and said, hey, I've got this conference, you want to come meet me? And I'm like, yes. But it didn't occur to me to see... we're usually slow in April.
Yeah, we're usually slow in the spring. Like last spring, we were really slow.
This year, we've been crazy, which is wonderful, great. We're not complaining. But I was like, April's perfect. It's the perfect time because we're not busy. So I won't leave Sophie with 1 million dogs. What I did not think to do was look at the location of Easter. Because, of course, Easter can be March or April. It varies from year to year. And that was Easter break, and everybody went on vacation. So we ended up having a full boarding kennel, some training dogs, and a puppy upstairs while I was away.
You forgot another and. Journey decided that she needed to be bred that week too. So that was a bit stressful.
Yeah,
also.
No, it was a very stressful week for you. I left on Wednesday, came back on a Sunday, but...
It seems like really short, but I pretty much... Same thing with puppies. I lived like 4 lifetimes in that.
Yeah. It was just me. Dad was here. Jacob was here. Of course, Jacob was gone all day working, and Dad took some time off work to make sure that you had at least our dogs sort of covered.
Yeah. And then Gianna
came up and worked for a few days, which was super helpful.
But it was still a lot.
It was a lot. And it was kind of a tricky group. We have a resource guarder here at the moment, which makes it tricky with the other dogs. It wasn't just some big silly group that could just hang out together. It was constantly.
I mean, if she wasn't there, it would have been like 10 times easier. Yeah. But like I would adjust her to one group and then something would happen, and then I would have to readjust her to another group, and then she would get comfortable and something would happen, and eventually now she's not allowed with anybody because she's just not trustworthy, and that we figured out. But of course we got her that week of when you were not going to be here, so I was figuring out all these things.
And to be fair, she only resource guards over food or high value bones.
But then she started resource guarding over like random high value objects. Yeah. That she would deem as high value, and she doesn't have like a hesitation. She just turns on, and you're like, what the?
So it was hard for the other dog. She didn't injure anybody or anything, but you don't want that kind of stress on the other dogs.
Yeah, it's like they're already stressed out for being here. Luckily, we had a lot of like regulars for the most part there, or like puppies we've raised, so they knew us. But yeah, anyways.
And the thing is that she loves to play with other dogs.
Yeah, and
she's
so
really
like,
quite good with other dogs.
It's
just this one issue. So you really want to let her socialize. But when a dog becomes untrustworthy in that way, you have to make the decision to not let them socialize with other dogs, except on leash when we're walking them.
Yeah, I mean, luckily her siblings were there, so it just came to the point where she was only allowed to socialize with her siblings, and that was that.
Right. So that's a little disappointing because you want to let them have that freedom, but obviously.
And she plays so nicely. It would just be like, oh, I'm gonna resource guard this.
Yeah, she found a little
object.
Piece of kibble on the ground outside. Suddenly, she's resource guarding it. It's tough.
Yeah, so
it's too bad, but it is what it is. So there was that. So you got through that.
Yep.
We got Journey bred, which I was super excited about. We were going to use one stud, but he wasn't able to get the job done. Fortunately, she had another similar stud there who was more than happy to breed with Journey. Yeah. So you and Dad did that for me. You brought her one day, and then Dad brought her on Sunday.
And I mean, she was supposed to come here to make it easier, and then she couldn't, which I was a bit stressed out about. But then it was kind of a good thing because the male would not breed with
that's
Journey.
True. Right. And then you would have been stuck.
Yeah. And then tough. I had to go over there and then discuss with Melissa what dog would be good for Journey, because as much as, okay, just bring another male out, it's not as simple as that, because Journey needs a dog with a full tail. She needs a dog. No,
Journey has a full tail.
Oh,
that's okay. She has one copy of degenerative myelopathy, which is a dominant gene, so one copy is safe, but you can't double up on it.
Can't double up. And then she needs a big stocky male with a big coat.
She carries one copy of MDR1 too, so you can't also, that's an incomplete dominant, so you can't double up on that. It's really unwise to double up on that. So yeah, and Melissa's pretty good at figuring out remembering what dogs have what, and of course she gives us the genetic screening.
So like I had a whole conversation with her trying to figure out what dog was what. And we also need it to be a sweet, goofy guy, because Journey's
that's
so
the key
timid,
with Journey.
And she's so serious. So she really, really needed a big, goofy guy, stocky guy. So we ended up picking up his Ghost. That's his name. And he's a sweet young male. This would be his third litter. So hopefully the puppies are sweet and cute. And she was so easy to breed. So then when Dad went there, it was like less than 10 minutes. They were bred and done. So
right, and I was excited because she had waited to go into heat, and I was like, okay, I think I said to you, I counted on the calendar, and I said, well, Journey could go into heat today, and she won't have the puppies when I'm away in June, because Dad and I are going away in June for a week, for 5 days, and I was afraid she was going to have the puppies when I'm gone, because that's what bitches do. They wait until you go schedule a vacation. And then she went to heat that very day, and then I looked in the calendar and I'm like, oh crap, that means that she needs to be bred when I'm away in New Orleans. So, you can't when you have breeding females,
you can't win.
It always interferes with your vacation, and we just haven't traveled because it got so complicated.
Well, and that's what happened. We were supposed to go to where you and Dad are going to in June. We're supposed to go to Arizona. Last year.
Yeah, like last spring or the spring before. I forget.
It was like last March.
But we just freaking canceled the whole thing.
Yeah, because Twiggy and Journey went into heat, and we were going to breed them both at the same time, and then neither of them got pregnant. Or Journey got pregnant, had a half litter, and then Twiggy didn't get pregnant at all.
Yeah,
so then we end up canceling our vacation for 2 puppies.
Yeah.
So
now we haven't gone away as a family for 3 years, but you guys are adults now, so it's not like you're kids anymore.
And now we have our own vacations. So like I'm going on vacation in May.
It would be nice that Jacob has a new job. It'd be nice if you earn enough money. Maybe you and Brianna can go away for a weekend somewhere.
And we forgot to mention, speaking of Journey's micro litter, Bonnie came back.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. So the micro litter was the 2 puppies. If you all remember, it was Bonnie and Clyde. It was the Red Merle Clyde, who is now Thai, like the Thai people, Thai, Thai. And lives with a nice couple. I think they're on Long Island.
Yeah.
And then Bonnie went to a woman who was like 45 minutes from here. And I got a call this was a few weeks ago. I got a call from a woman who said, yes, I just inherited one of your puppies. I just had a few questions. And being that I'm a snippy person, I was like, what exactly do you mean you inherited one of my puppies?
Yeah, but that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. You can't inherit one of my puppies. Our contract says if you can't keep one of our puppies, they have to come back to me, and she said, well, I don't know if you know, but the owner, I won't mention her name, passed away. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't expect that.
Mm-mm.
She died in her sleep in March. And the spouse, the remaining spouse, just couldn't keep Bonnie anymore. He worked 12 hours a day, and he just felt like she needed more than he could give. So he gave her to the late wife's friend, who had an older border collie. And it wasn't working out between Bonnie and the border collie, mainly because Bonnie was grieving,
like dysregulated,
traumatized from the whole experience, and was being very snappy with the new dog just because she felt so dysregulated. Mm-hmm. So I said, explained to her, to this woman's credit, I explained to her the contract and that legally the dog is mine now. Like, he can't just give her away. And I said, I can come pick her up. Where are you? She sent me her address, and I said, I'm leaving now. And within 2 hours, she was in my car. And 13 months old, I think she is.
Yeah. And wow, she's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
So sweet.
Loved her.
We thought, so the woman thought it was resource guarding toys and stuff. Yeah.
No, she thought it was just aggression.
Oh yeah, she thought it was aggression. And then you saw it and you thought it was resource guarding toys. And then as you sat there a little longer, you realized she was resource guarding you.
Right.
And then we figured out I think we had her for 2 weeks.
Something like that.
We figured out that it was when she's dysregulated, she needs something, like she needs to be able to regulate herself, and how she regulates herself is by resource guarding random things, which was interesting. And then as she got more used to us and that you can't resource guard us. Well, she was resource guarding people, but
once she felt comfortable,
it dissipated completely.
Right.
Which was a new thing for us to learn.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in one of our dogs before. Nope. So it was just a matter of letting the poor dog relax and feel safe. And then once she did, she was better. And when she did resource guard me, if I was sitting on the couch watching TV and she got, growly or snippy with a dog walking by.
Off the couch,
goodbye. And she was like, oh.
What? And then she completely stopped.
She was like, okay, I guess I won't do that anymore.
Yeah. So, but she's sweet, super sweet, super good with other dogs. It was just, she was dysregulated.
And had no training, obviously no training at all. Mm-mm. Like, I don't even think she walked her on a leash. Mm-mm. So we did a little bit of walking with her, but she, easy dog to rehome because she was beautiful and lovely and sweet and adorable. Not a challenging dog to have. So I knew it would be easy. And we found a very nice woman. It was about 2 hours away.
Yep.
And she came and picked her up. I think she was here for like 2.5 weeks or something before she went to her new home. And she's doing well there, which is lovely. I think she's going to do great with that woman.
Yep.
So that was a first for us. We've never had to take a dog back before. Well, technically I took a puppy back once way in the very beginning. But I literally had that puppy back for 2 days, and then she got rehomed.
Yeah, and like now we've learned from that.
Yeah, that woman was an idiot.
She was a moron.
Yeah. So what? There were some red flags there.
Yeah, and you were like, oh well.
As a breeder, yeah, you have to learn to look for the red flags and be willing to say no to somebody. Which is why we don't breed a lot, and I don't produce more than 2 litters a year, because when you have more puppies, you will compromise your beliefs a little bit more when you're trying to sell a puppy, because you got to sell them, and I don't want to ever have to do that.
Nope.
So yeah, Bonnie came and went. Now her name is Indigo, I believe. I'm sure she's going to do great.
Yep.
And Miss Marley finally went home. Marley is the former Smokey, so Marley stayed with us, like I say, for 5 weeks. She got extensive puppy training. She did. She's beautiful in the crate. She really, by the last 4 or 5 days, was really good with the housebreaking. Like really clicked with the housebreaking.
Socializing
with people and dogs. Leash walking. Recall. She had so much under her belt.
Yep.
When she left. Yep. So I was very proud of her. She really showed us how well trained she was when these other puppies came in.
Yeah, and we were like, oh my gosh.
They have no training.
Yeah.
which is normal for a puppy that age. So it really showed the contrast of how much work we put into Marley.
And it's funny because I know it's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work, but then I think about Tula and she's such an easy puppy. Marley, she's such an easy puppy, right? Compared to like puppies as a whole. And then, if you look at the common denominator is how we raise our puppies.
Yeah, it's not the puppy that's great.
Yeah, it's like, Tula probably would be a different dog if somebody else raised her and doesn't have the same Aussie experience as we do.
Right.
And we probably would have a harder time raising a dog that wasn't Aussies because,
right.
We don't have the same thing. But I always think, these puppies are amazing. Like, they're so easy,
Most of it, what we do is universal.
Yeah.
But there is a small percentage of it, maybe 10-15%, that's not universal. And it's if you have a bulldog puppy, it's going to be very different. If you have a GSP puppy, it's going to be very different. If you have a Rottie puppy, there are some, of course, breed characteristics that are going to change how you raise them. And of course, then there's some personality differences that you have to roll with. Of course, we are good at Aussies because that's what we've done.
Yep.
But
we pretty much perfected it at this point. How many puppies we've had to raise over the years?
Well, never perfect, but
you know what I mean. It's like I don't know. I always think, Tula was such an amazing puppy. So that we are.
And speaking of Tula, she went through her teenage years. For about 3 months, she was pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, and now she's mellowed out real nice.
And you guys were really down on her. And I was like, she's just going through her it was from about 10 months to about maybe 11 months to about 12, 13 months.
Yeah,
13 months or so, where she was doing a ton of alarm barking and jumping on the other dogs when they went outside. That's a real Aussie thing.
And not being as friendly as she usually is with strangers, which
you guys were so intolerant, so unhappy with her. And I was teenager. Like, she's just going through a little something, something. It's going to be okay.
Well, I knew that she was going through a little something. It's still annoying though.
Well, I knew she was going through something, and still I was like, I hope. I hope this is temporary.
Well, and we go through this with every single dog we have. Is like, did we mess this dog up? Blah, 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 blah. Like every single Aussie we have until we got to like Meadow. You were like, I fucked up all these dogs. Blah, blah, blah. But now we're like, no, they go through these phases or whatever. And I knew she was going through a phase.
And she's come out of it beautifully.
Yeah.
She plays fetch nice now, which is great. She was usually, for a long time there, she was pouncing on the other dogs and grabbing them instead of going after the ball, which is a real Aussie thing. She stopped doing that. She's been much calmer with new people again, not so much alarm barking. She's not, she's just not doing those obnoxious things. And, it just goes in my memory banks like, oh, yeah, right. See, it was just teenage years.
Yep, no.
And probably heat cycle, too, because in that 3-month period, she did go through heat. So the hormones do make them crazy. And then she came out of it. So, yeah, she's back to being her lovely self.
Yep. And then one more update, I think. Twiggy.
Yeah, so Twiggy's back looking for a home. We've been going back and forth. She's not Bonnie. She is a dog that's going to be difficult to rehome, so I'm not sure she's going anywhere.
Nope, but I still want to, if there's a home out there, I do think that we should keep trying.
We'll keep trying.
And I think that we have a break coming up, and so we're going to try to walk her and Journey together. And we have a different routine on having her upstairs more often. So,
which works fine.
Yeah. It's just...
yeah. Well, you say we have a break. We have, I think, like a week and a half with no dogs. Currently, of course. What happens is, as soon as we think we're going to get a break, all of a sudden somebody calls and says, can I leave my dog there for a week?
No, that's literally what I'm waiting for a client to call, and then we have to raise another puppy again.
The problems that we want.
I know, but I'm sick of... And I didn't even do any of the work. Well, I did like 10% of the work, and I'm still like... I'm done with the puppy. I've always been done with puppies. I'm not a big puppy person.
No, it was nice this morning. Today was the first time I've woken up in many moons without having to deal with puppies. That was nice. Yeah.
That's how I felt when you came back from vacation.
Yeah.
I was like, here you go.
You did a good job when I was gone. It was not an easy time. And I appreciated you letting me, the whole family kicked in and let me go away for a few days. And then Dad and I are going away for a few days in June.
Yeah.
Journey's due. We come back on a Sunday. She's due the following Friday.
Yep.
Or Saturday. So hopefully if she goes into labor early, it won't be more than a couple of days and we will be home and ready for that.
And Summer's going to be here.
Summer is coming back. The person. So Summer is Gary's grand niece. She was here for her break in April, beginning of April. No,
yeah.
Actually, no, it was beginning of April. Believe it or not, it was not that long ago. Seems like forever ago.
It does. This is because we've been doing too much shit.
I think it was like...
I think it was probably April, the last time we filmed the podcast is probably... It probably was season 11.
Could it be April? Maybe it was March. Maybe it was March. No, it had to be March.
Well, St. Patrick's Day, Dad went back to drop her off. And that.
Oh, okay, so it was March. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, couldn't be. Couldn't be. Yeah, so she's going to come back and stay with us for the whole summer.
Mm-hmm. And she's going to work for us.
She'll do some work with the dogs. And, yeah, it'll be nice to have somebody else in the house.
So moral of that is that when you go on vacation,
We'll have installed living here. Live-in help.
Yeah, so if Journey all of a sudden decides to have puppies a week early, then it won't be a big deal.
Let's hope that does not happen. That would upset me terribly.
Yeah, that would really upset me too. But also, she's really easy to whelp. But I'd much rather not have to do it in case something bad happens.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, so.
Yeah, a lot of updates. So, yeah, maybe we should get started. Mm-hmm. All right, so, well, I wanted to talk to you about that documentary I saw the other day.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of leads into, yeah, okay, go ahead.
So, I've been seeing clips on TikTok about this Yellowstone wolf documentary, which it took me a while to figure out what the name of it was because, you know, when people post on TikTok or Instagram a clip and they don't put the name of the movie or the show or whatever.
And then you look at the comments and there's like 1,000 different things.
What movie is this? Where can I find it? Where can I watch it? It's so annoying.
Clickbait.
So I think this one was called, I don't know, Yellowstone Wolves, the Pack or something like that. So it's a story about the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone. So that happened in 1995. That's not a new story. This, I think, documentary is made in 2018. So they just spent they looked at the previous 20 years of the reintroduction, how it went, and the different infamous packs that formed over those 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so they talked about this one particular, but there was a favorite male wolf, Wolf 21, and he's infamous, famous, just an incredible wolf. I think he lived 9 years and he was a leader of a pack for like 7 of those years or something, which is, you know, pretty much unheard of. Wolves don't usually live past 5. They actually die quite young. They live fast and die young.
Wow.
They can live 12 years or 13 years in captivity, but in the wild, it's a risky life. So he was Wolf 21, and then he had his original mate was a female labeled 40, Wolf 40. And it kind of reminded me of Twiggy and Journey, low key in a way. Wolf 40 had a sister, 42. And Wolf 40, the alpha female, was a brutal leader. She was led by, you know, brute force and would beat up much of the rest of the pack, particularly her sister, Wolf 42. And it was just terrible. And Wolf 42 just took it for years. And one day they got a call, the biologist got a call that there was an injured wolf on the side of the road. And when they get to her, she's completely bloody. And it's Wolf 40, the pack leader. And she is just chewed to shit. She's so badly injured, by the time they get her in the van, she dies. And they look at her, they examine her and realize that this was not like a bear attack or she wasn't hit by a car. These are wolf injuries. The pack had turned against her. Which makes sense. If you lead a pack and don't create allies who love you, right? You can't just fear and respect you. They have to love you, because when something happens, they have to have your back. So they surmise it happened at night, so they don't have any footage of it, but they surmise what happened was that 40, the mean wolf, went over to her sister's den. She had a litter of puppies as well, 42. And probably tried to kill her puppies. And 42 said, I am done with you. I'm done with you. And they got in a fight. And likely what happened was the rest of the pack joined in and finished her off. Interesting, the turn of events after that, which is even more fascinating, is that the male alpha, 21, he went over the next day, went over to 42's den site and had a little meeting with her. And before you know it, 42 took all of her pups back to 40's den, the dead wolf's den, and combined her puppies with her dead sister's puppies and raised them all and led the pack really benevolently. And raised something like 27 puppies that year. It's like an insane amount of puppies, all to adulthood.
Chills.
Yeah. So she is like my bear 399, if anybody knows Grizzly 399 in Yellowstone. She's on my wall. I love her. But it echoes, and it kind of made me feel low-key better about Journey and Twiggy. It's, yes, we know it's a natural process that's happening between the two of them. And it's very much mirroring that, in that Journey took Twiggy's abuse. Now, when I say abuse, it was not physical, but this sort of mental intimidation, periodically throughout the day. And Journey felt it. And even when we kept them separate and made sure that everybody's treating everybody nicely, she's still feeling that intimidation.
Well, yeah, and I didn't even realize how much Twiggy was intimidating her. And this is how much stuff, like even us really understanding dog body language, how much goes behind closed doors that we can't communicate with them.
Right.
I didn't think Journey liked me very much. I really didn't think she liked me at all. In reality, when Twiggy's there, Twiggy resource guards me. And so anytime Journey would come up and say hi to me, she would give her the eye or walk in between us. And I'm not on 24/7 watching their body language. And then once Twiggy started living in the kennel and downstairs and stuff, it turns out Journey actually really likes me, and me and her are like this now.
Yeah.
So it turns out that there was a lot of things going on behind closed doors that we didn't even know.
Right.
So this was building up for many years at this point.
And she pushed Journey too far one day. And Journey said, I'm done with you.
Yep.
and actually Twiggy got and Twiggy, had we not been there to intervene, the entire pack might have turned on Twiggy.
Yep.
In that moment.
Yep.
Because Twiggy's kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
And the only difference between 40 and Twiggy and 42 is Twiggy made sure to make friends with the two head of the pack. So she's really close with her mother and her father because she knows that.
And her mother is Vivi, her dad's Deacon, and her mom runs the entire pack. And her dad is really a second in command. Meadow is the second female in command, but Deacon, definitely, it's the two of them that run that pack.
Yep.
Run our pack.
Yep. And
we can talk about the.
Well, let's just finish this and then we'll go into Vivian. So I think it would have been worse if Twiggy didn't make allies with those two.
Yes, she did. And she's very respectful of her mom and dad.
Very respectful. Everyone else, she doesn't treat.
She's a bit of a bully with everybody else.
She treats them like peasants.
Yes.
But we have noticed since she's been spayed, she is like really good with the pack now. Now that it's 3 months after her spay and she has normal hormones in her, she's always going to have this beef with Journey. Hopefully we can just walk them together and they can be neutral on each side of the gate. That's our ultimate goal, because I don't really see Twiggy going anywhere. I still think we should be looking, but like I just don't really see her being
because we have high expectations of high expectations, requirements for any home that she goes into. But what I was going to say is we can compare and contrast Ruby's situation, right? So Ruby made no allies with anyone in the pack.
Nope.
So when she developed a beef with the leader, Vivi, and Vivi went after her, the entire pack turned on Ruby because they were like, we don't even like you. You're not even nice to us. Ruby was never overtly mean to anyone, but she did a lot of grumbling and growling, and she's very grouchy with the rest of the pack.
She's always
and
been grouchy.
Failed to make any allies. She failed to ally with anyone in the pack. She would tolerate them.
Even with Remy, she grew up with Remy, and if they're together, Remy knows that she means no harm and she's no
the
threat
growling
at
and
all.
snarling and all that stuff. She just ignores it, right? Because she grew up with her.
But like even like Ruby's never been like a dog's dog.
So that's it's true. She's definitely more into people.
She's just like she would be fine alone in a household. Like she doesn't need other dogs at all. Like she actually doesn't really. She just tolerates them.
And it's not that she's mean to other dogs.
No,
she's just grumpy.
She's just grumpy and she wants to be left alone, and dogs are annoying and she much rather be with people.
Yeah. So that's another example of a dog who failed to predict the future and think that I might be vulnerable one day and I'm going to need allies. She failed to do any of that. So when Vivi turned on her, all of Vivi's allies joined in. And that's
or didn't do anything.
Right. Or didn't defend her. Right. So that's why Ruby is totally separated. The difference between Ruby and Twiggy is that Ruby can be on the other side of a gate or a fence and there is zero issue with the pack.
Nope.
No one tries to go after her. It's not that much of a beef where they're trying to hurt each other.
Nope.
We just don't. And Ruby can be with everybody but Deacon and Vivi.
Yep.
And Twiggy. Deacon, Vivi, and Twiggy. So Ruby could come down and socialize in the kitchen if we had 3 dogs separated out of there. She doesn't really enjoy it. Again, she doesn't enjoy it. She doesn't really like other dogs.
So like I took her out yesterday because I had Deacon, Vivi, Twiggy, and Tula outside. I was playing fetch with them. And then afterwards I just did scatter feeding with everybody else. And I was like, Ruby can be with these dogs. And the whole time, literally the whole time, I'm watching their body language because I have to be out there anyways because I'm not going to leave her alone with these guys even though I know they're fine with her. I'm just watching their behavior, and Ruby is all the way over there eating their scatter feed, and everyone else is in a group over here.
Yeah, because she's never felt part of the pack.
No,
from the beginning.
No, she doesn't really want to be with anybody, and Rem will go over there and like try to interact with her, and Ruby will be grumpy with her, and then Rem goes back with everybody else.
Shrugs her shoulders and walks away.
Yeah, so like, and Tula does too, and everyone tries with Ruby, and Ruby's a grump and doesn't want to be bothered. So, you know, you make your bed, you lie in it.
Right, so she never developed the allies you need. To defend her or protect her in a situation where she has a beef with another dog. So all this stuff is super fascinating, and to listen and watch this documentary on wolf behavior that is very much what our dogs do, you know, and they're domestic dogs. They're not wolves. It was the mirroring of that was just really personally interesting. It's interesting just wolves because I love them, but also to see the same behaviors in our own pack and go, okay, I see. And, you know, a lot of this stuff is like we know anecdotally, we see it, we experience it, but it's not we don't necessarily think it's science. It's been studied. And it's one of my favorite things is to find out something that I believe through my experience is actually a biological behavior that's been studied and proven and peer reviewed. And has a name. That's one of my favorite things. And that happens in dog training all the time. Because I'm old school and I've learned all of this stuff 30 years ago when these things did not necessarily have a name or were studied and were peer reviewed, right? In these research studies. So that's always funny to, you know, part of you goes, well, duh. And then you go, oh, it has a name?
Yeah.
Right.
And then if we could talk about, like, as much as Vivian has been like a headache in the pack of just like she came in and then Ruby got kicked out of the pack, right? And then it was like that happened, and then all the stuff happened with her and Meadow, with the pregnancy, and then, You know, like all the drama that
she has brought a lot of drama.
A lot of drama. But the one thing that outweighs all the drama that she's brought in is Vivian is a fair, reasonable, patient, kind leader who rules. She's just so fair. Like, I mean, she's
benevolent.
Yeah, no, she's such a fair leader. Everyone worships the
her.
ground
they
she
really
walks
do.
on.
Yeah.
Like if anything happens with Vivian, doesn't even have to pick her own fights.
Nope.
So if Vivian gets upset at someone or looks at someone the wrong way, Deacon will handle her shit for her.
Or Meadow.
Or Meadow will handle her shit for her.
They'll come in and separate them and go, hey guys, everybody
Chill
go to their
out.
own corner.
Yep. It's so fascinating. And I mean, that's essentially what a leader should be. And I don't know, to like be able to see that in, you know, like dogs and such creatures that have lower intelligence than us, and kind of see how everything kind of pans out. And, you know, through just us watching in day-to-day life is just super fascinating. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, I don't know how you have all these dogs and blah, blah, blah. I mean, if this is what you do every day you learn something new.
For sure. Like
you learn the water bowl thing, how like Vivian will drink water with other dogs, but like other dogs don't like drinking water with like Deacon or with...
Deacon does not share the bowl.
Nope, Deacon doesn't share the bowl.
Doesn't resource guard it, but does not share his water bowl.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, I love seeing all that. I do... Vivi is really an exceptional dog. I mean, I love all my dogs, and some of them are important, like particularly important to me, like Ty
or
like,
Journey.
You know, they're really important to me, but they're not necessarily exceptional standout dogs. Vivi is a standout dog.
No, she is,
and she is fascinating to watch her run this pack so benevolently. And she genuinely likes the pack, generally likes them. And they worship the ground she walks on. It's fascinating to see that. Mm-hmm. And particularly Deacon will do absolutely anything for her. It's not to me.
And Meadow.
It's not that they don't get in squabbles. They do. Mm-hmm. But the other interesting thing with that is that we bred Vivi specifically because of these qualities.
And she does not pass on those qualities.
She doesn't pass them on. We get twiggy.
And the thing that frustrates me about that whole thing is we both decided that we were going to have 2 new females that we were going to bring into the pack. And you asked me if I wanted to get an outcross from our bloodlines or if I wanted a dog from our bloodlines. And I told you I wanted a dog from our bloodlines because it will be easier for me to be able to raise a dog that I already know kind of the parameters of everything. And I love Vivian's size. I wanted a smaller dog, and I love her stockiness. And with Deacon, I was like, they're going to be like, you know, it's just going to be such a good combination because Deacon's a good dog and Vivian's a good dog. And it will just bring these 2 traits together. Mm-hmm. And instead, I have a dictator as a dog.
Yes. Yeah.
So like you don't know, even if you know your dogs and you know the temperaments and stuff.
Until you breed them, you don't know.
You don't know. And then if we're going to talk about Journey, mm-hmm. Journey has all these weird, quirky qualities with meeting new people and socializing, and you know, like she just has very quirky things, and she does not pass those qualities.
Well, she's very serious,
very
serious dog.
She doesn't
she's
take
not
a
silly
joke.
dog. And she is very reserved with new people. Mm-hmm. Very, very reserved. And we were careful about who we mix her with. We've been very careful. And we find that her reservedness is not carried on.
Nope.
So just like Vivi's wonderful quality did not carry into the next generation, Journey's less wonderful quality, the quality we were concerned about, did not carry. And had it carried, I probably would not have bred her again, because it's not fair to continue that kind of personality. It makes it very hard to have a family dog who doesn't like anybody except the family.
Yep. And on top of that,
also her short coat does not carry.
Yeah, her short it doesn't carry. And on top of that, she makes goofy, silly, weird, maybe not weird. She makes really goofy, uncoordinated dogs. We've had so many of her puppies come back, and they're all freaking goofy, and they all play the same way and have no grace. No grace. Like Fly and Evie were outside playing, and they're like flopping all over the place and flopping on their back, and they like are just like their bodies are just going everywhere.
Which in Journey is very graceful and incredibly an incredible athlete.
And she's very like if she's gonna get to somewhere, like she takes the path less traveled and makes it look graceful.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how the hell you jumped off that tree and caught that ball in the air and made it look like nothing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Evie's over here running around in circles with her 2 legs facing this way and her 2 front legs facing this way. And you're like, how are you running right now? Like,
yeah. So genetics is fascinating in that way. And you don't know until you try it.
Nope.
So a lot of breeding is trial and error, and you have to be willing to make decisions then once you learn things. And I think that's the hard part for breeders, because you invest in a female in particular.
you invest in a bloodline.
Yeah, and you want, you've made a huge investment, and now you're telling yourself, I can't breed this dog anymore because of what she carries.
I mean, if you look about like how we started, right, and how we're changing our course of breeding, is we started with Remy. And then we've realized we had Meadow, right? So we bred her with a different with Tristan, and we had Meadow's qualities, and we decided Meadow has too much of a coat, and she's kind of all over the place, and it's kind of like more.
She's a bit anxious.
Yeah, she's a bit anxious, kind of all over the place. It's just like can't kind of.
A little high strung.
Yeah. So we decided to breed her with Ty, and then Ty produced like these beautiful puppies with a little less anxiety. And then we kept Deacon from there because he's gorgeous. And then we figured out through those bloodlines that Remy produces like more of an edge to her puppies. And then that is a dominant gene. So Deacon carries that edge, and then he passed that edge on to Twiggy. So now Twiggy has that edge. And then essentially the whole bloodline that we've created through Remy, we don't have that bloodline anymore.
No.
We've completely eliminated that bloodline because we spayed Twiggy because we were like, she has too much of an edge. So we've, the only way we will reproduce that bloodline is if Cyrus, we end up breeding Cyrus with Tula, which is Twiggy's son.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot. We do still have one dog out.
So we only have one dog from that bloodline that we might be breeding Tula with.
Yeah.
And now what we've done is we got Ty, and then we've bred Ty to Journey. And now those puppies, because Ty has more of a coat, he's stockier, and he's goofy, he's completely taken off of Journey's reservedness and created these really goofy puppies, which created Evie. And now we're using Evie's bloodlines, and we've created another goofy dog with Evie, and now she's creating her own path, which is like Marley and all that stuff. And then Journey, we're breeding her with other goofy males, and they're creating a Bonnie and all those.
I would have loved to have bred Journey again with Bonnie and Clyde's stud, because I think both Bonnie and Clyde are wonderful.
They're wonderful. It's just he just does not.
Yeah, he wasn't interested.
He has no pep in his step at all.
I mean, we're assuming Journey's pregnant, and we won't know for a few more weeks.
Yeah, so we'll see how that bloodline works out. But we're definitely breeding Evie again with Buddy, because
Buddy? No.
Buddy? Wasn't his name Buddy?
No.
Teddy.
Same thing.
And then now we have Tula, and Tula's a completely different outcross and a completely different behavior. Yeah. And we're going to breed her with a goofy, athletic
She has a very
guy.
nice, very, very smooth temperament.
Yeah. So
except for the woo, 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 the fire engine
sirens
barking.
Yeah. That is honestly, that's like her one bad quality.
It is.
She's pretty awesome.
She's a very high-pitched bark.
Yeah, but she's great. I mean,
she's a sweetheart.
Brianna came over, Maya came over, and she's just in their laps, just as sweet as the day is long.
She's a good new blood into our breeding program.
So anyways, moral of that is it's funny how things pan out. Of like, you think you want to keep this bloodline, and then you realize it doesn't really work for family dogs.
Well, true, but also, eventually your bloodlines change because you're bringing in new blood. So, and then suddenly you look up and you're like, you have no more dogs in that bloodline.
Yeah, the only bloodline I would like to keep is Ty's, which is why we have Evie.
Right.
So, which is why we were like, here you go, Gianna.
And Evie made beautiful puppies.
Yeah, so. Beautiful puppies.
She wasn't good with them when she returned to see them, though.
No, oh my gosh. She was terrible. And she was a great mother. But,
yeah.
She just pounces on
she's
them.
She's a dope.
And then they're like screaming, and she goes, "This is fun, right?"
And the puppies are going, ah, ah, ah. I'm like, oh my God, Evie, you're such a dope.
And Gianna's like, Evie, stop. Evie. God. I'm like, Gianna, you're so quiet. And I mean, it's funny also because I think Gianna wanted kind of a chill puppy like Journey because she loves Journey so much, and she ended up getting this like
dope clown.
Ugh. It's so funny. You see Gianna on the beach with her, and Gianna's all like, and Evie's like running on the beach like a crackhead.
She's a good
like
girl,
call your dog back.
She's
Gianna.
also, you have to remember how young she is. She's not even 2.
I know, she's a dopey dog though, Mom.
I don't think she's 2 yet, right? I think she'll be 2 in July. I think they're born on the 4th of July, something like that. Yeah, so she's not even 2. So she'll mellow with age.
She's such a dope. Though.
She's very sweet.
So dopey.
And she's beautiful.
She looks great on Instagram.
Yes, she does. She takes a very good photo.
You meet her in person, you're like, oh.
Who's this clown?
It's like those models you see. And you're like, oh my God, they must be such a fun person. Then you meet them and they're like they're like all quirky and, Yeah,
they like
have
like
a
heavy Bronx accent. Yeah. You're like, wait, you're supposed to be like this beautiful French model.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Evie. All right, so we've been yakking for 45 minutes already, and we haven't even gotten to the topic.
Well, maybe we should use this topic for the next podcast.
Well, we could do that. We could do that for next year.
Because it's a long topic.
It is. So we'll just make this episode a background episode. We would love suggestions for topics. I always ask for suggestions, but nobody ever reaches out and says they want us to do something. So we have to make it up as we go.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about then? Maybe we should wind it up.
I don't think so.
So going forward this summer, we got Journey's litter, hopefully, due in late June. Mm-hmm. And those puppies will be ready to go mid-August. And then Tula goes into heat in the fall, but I don't think I'm going to breed her on her second breeding. Her second heat. I think I'm going to wait for her third heat, which would be spring.
I think that's a good idea.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, it could be that Journey isn't pregnant, and if she's not, then I will breed Tula in the fall.
Well, Tula is going to be an easy breeder, so thank God for that.
Yes, that we could talk about that. How she bred with Deacon.
Yep, we had them outside, and
I turned around and they're tied. And Deacon, remember, as you should remember, is neutered. So yes, neutered males can still complete the act and tie. No, they just can't get them pregnant. So it was actually kind of a good practice.
Yep.
Who was very surprised.
Yeah, she was like, what is going on?
Why is he stuck to me?
And you had to run downstairs, and then you called me and you're like, I have 2 dogs tied outside. And I was like, I'm thinking another dog came into the yard and bred her. But no, it was Deacon.
Dummy.
So, yep.
They
would make beautiful puppies.
Ty tried to breed with Journey the other day. I'm like, all right, you guys.
Well, on. Journey, first of all, both of them
are slutty. And that's what you want for females.
Yeah, and they'd go up to the gate and like flag for the boys. And I'm like, get away from the gate. Leave them alone.
Yeah, so I'm glad that everybody's now done with heat because we did 2 heats in a row and we had all those puppies.
Yep.
And we had a breed Journey. I went away. We had all those boarding dogs. It's been a very, very busy last couple of months.
Yep.
So
I'm tired.
I'm glad we got through it with everything that went well. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are the problems that we want.
Yeah.
So we'll go into the summertime. We're going to be very busy this summer as well. We always are busy in the summer. So we're sort of going into our busy season, and we'll have a litter of puppies, but we'll have Summer here living with us. Yeah. So that will help with the litter of puppies because I'm going to need help with that because you're going away next month.
Yep. I'm going away in May and then going away in October. October, yeah. Mm-hmm. October.
That seems like a long way off.
Yep.
So, and we have this new house. This will be our first season living here in the spring.
Yeah, I love it so far. It's pretty great.
Yeah, so the trees are blooming and the grass is turning green and we're working on the outside of the house now. We worked on the inside all winter.
Keep in mind, people, when we moved to this house, it was fall time. It was fall, but when we saw this house and we were looking at it during the summer, the grass was up to your waist
Yeah,
and
because this house was in foreclosure, so it was a freaking mess when we moved in.
A mess, and it wasn't until the end of fall where all the leaves were gone where we like cleaned up the front yard and trimmed the trees and put up the fence.
So we're going to be doing some landscaping this spring. Yep. I'm excited for that. Yep. And we're going to be putting a front walkway in. I don't know why people build houses and don't put walkways in. Never understand that.
This is your second walkway.
Second house without a walkway. That's crazy. So we've had, and the new training room is working out really well.
It's working great.
So it's exciting. We've had a lot of really good things happen in the last 6 months. So we are grateful for sure. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be busy this summer. I don't know when we're going to come back for season 4. I think last year we took some time off and we came back in like July or something.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to
because then we finished again before you went back to school in September. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think
I missed it when we can't talk.
I mean, yeah, but then we can come up with more topics, and I feel like we're going to be really busy, busier than we think we're going to be this summer. I mean, I hope. We'll see.
Yeah, so it should be fun. Mm-hmm. We love the podcast. We love everybody's devotion to it. So we thank you, listeners. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's wind it up. We will see you guys. Maybe we'll see you in the summer. In the meantime, we'll be on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and maybe TikTok. We'll see. If I feel brave, maybe I'll post some stuff on TikTok.
TikTok can kind of be scary because people are kind of mean.
People can be mean. I don't want people to be mean to me.
I know. We have such a good audience.
We do. We have wonderful followers. They're so supportive. Sometimes when somebody says something mean to me on Instagram, I don't have to do anything. My followers just jump on that person.
Yeah. Or you have like a debate about if Evie's a border collie or not. That's as mean as it gets.
Yes.
And it's not even that mean. It's more of like, go on Instagram. She's not. She was born in this house by two Aussies.
Why would I lie about what she is? People are funny.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So happy spring. Mm-hmm. We will see you guys in a few months. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in season 4. Bye. Dog for Thought is written and hosted by me, Sarah Brown. Co-hosted by Sophie Brown, produced, edited, and original music by Jacob Brown. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.